resolve certain situations when dispatched, and he did so with great skill and greater obedience. Yet until now, it had never clicked that it was Hagen's disapproval Michael most dreaded. Hagen's intelligence Michael most needed to one-up. Hagen's deceptive toughness Michael most needed to surpass, even if doing so meant going against his own nature, his own blood. This insight flowed through Michael Corleone like a deep breath, yet he couldn't quite speak the answer to his brother's question. "No, you tell me, Fredo, since it's so obvious. What is in my heart?" "Oh, boy," Fredo said. "That's your problem in a nutshell, Mike, ain't it? You don't know your own heart." Michael folded his arms. "Are you finished, Fredo? Because I have business I need to take care of." Michael struggled to remember what the business was. The particulars of his day's work now seemed strewn about in his head and just out of reach. At the end of the block, the old train roared by. "I have a warning for you," Fredo shouted over the train. "But what's the point? Coming from me, you'd think it was a joke. You'd never give it a second goddamn thought. You never give me a second goddamn thought, I bet." Fredo was mistaken. Michael thought about him all the time. "You were dead to me when you were still alive, Fredo," Michael was horrified to hear himself say. "You think being dead changes anything? Nothing has changed. Go away, Fredo." He wanted to hear the warning, truly he did. Not that it stood to be a surprise. Of threats there was no end. What mattered to Michael wasn't the news Fredo had, because he was confident it would not be news. What felt important was that Fredo had come to deliver it. The train was gone now. Fredo turned and started walking away, a pink mist of blood obscuring the wound at the back of his head. He called out to Fredo to wait. Fredo stopped and turned to face him. "What do you want?" Michael was on a gurney now, stable, heading for the emergency room. Al Neary hovered nearby, yelling about sugar to people Michael could sense but not quite see. There was a woman here, too, coming into view in Michael's own robe. Rita. She was sobbing. Michael tried to reach out to her. She smiled at him through her tears and muttered something in French. Then Al Neary told her to stand back, taking her by the arm and tugging her away from Michael. "What do you want?" Fredo repeated. "I'm losing my patience here, kid." Michael closed his eyes and willed himself to use reason. A needle jabbed his arm and Michael opened his eyes. The gurney was moving and its wheels were squeaking, shrieking, and Rita's hand was on his arm and then batted away, and he somehow saw both the ceiling of his apartment rushing by and also Fredo on that dark street in his tuxedo, dabbing at his wound with a blood-drenched pocket square. "You deaf?" Fredo said. "Answer me." Michael felt as if he were living two lives at once, both equally real. "I want you to wait, Fredo," he murmured. "That's what I want. I want you to stay." "Madone!" Fredo backed away, angry now. "No, Mike. I mean, what do you want?" "Nothing I can have." Fredo laughed mirthlessly. "And you call me dead," he said. "You got a lot to learn, kid. Give Rita and the baby a kiss for me." Fredo turned his back. In his bloody tuxedo, he walked toward where the train had passed. Michael was falling through space now, in what must have been the elevator. Rita and the baby? Rita didn't have a baby. Michael turned his head, trying to get a last glimpse of his brother. Fredo was still walking away. From this angle, at this increasing distance, it looked to Michael as if most of his brother's head had been shot off. And then Fredo was gone. 3 black Chevy Biscaynes, each carrying 2 armed men, squinting into the harsh sunlight, clenched-jawed, rocketed single file toward New Orleans on U.S. Highway 61, that queen of American long roads. Highway 61 ran the length of the country, right through its engorged and corn-fed heart. Its terminus lay dead ahead. It was 1963, a Sunday unseasonably hot for January. The men in the 3 black Biscaynes drove with the windows down and did not appear to be sweating or nervous. the New Orleans skyline loomed. The speed limit changed, and the drivers slowed down. Ahead, on the left, a few miles shy of the end of the highway, was the Pelican Motor Lodge, where Carlo Tremonti kept his office. No out-of-towner would have guessed that the nondescript cinder-block restaurant next door, Nicastro's, served the best Italian food in the city, the best that money could buy. The best food, period, was available a few blocks away at Tremonti's plantation-style home. The house was white, lovely. The backyard overlooked a swampy, magnolia-lush corner of one of the finest country clubs in New Orleans. Tremonti was the first Italian the club admitted. He'd been sponsored by the governor himself. Children of all ages swarmed the yard. A game of bocce had sprung up and become an excuse for good-natured taunting among the men. As usual, Agostino Tremonti, the smartest and shortest of Carlo's 5 younger brothers, came in for the worst of it. He had a talent for sports and games, but took them too seriously. Carlo Tremonti strolled among his guests with a walking stick, kissing his grandchildren and tousling their hair, listening to the problems of his nephews and cousins. He looked like a Mediterranean shipping magnate, from his perfectly trimmed white hair and double-breasted navy blazer right down to his sockless loafered feet. He was 5'11", the tallest man here. Carlo finally joined the bocce game. His presence calmed his brother down. Augie Tremonti was a foot shorter version of Carlo, same haircut, same tan, same custom-made clothes from the same tailor, except that he walked on the balls of his feet, bouncing, a man with too much to prove. The pasta course was set out on long tables on the wraparound porch. The women called out to the men and the children to come eat. It would be difficult to exaggerate the significance in most Italian homes of good food and big family meals. No outsider could hope to understand how much the bounty now set before the Tremonti clan was both taken for granted and cherished. Carlo Tremonti made his usual toast, just a warm and simple La Familia. His family echoed him and drank. As they did, the men from the black cars appeared on the lawn, guns drawn. Women and children screamed. Carlo Tremonti got to his feet. He made no attempt to flee. Absurdly, he grabbed a steak knife and held it aloft. These men could not be cops. Tremonti owned the cops. Several shades of color had drained from his face. "INS," the lead agent shouted. "Immigration." Carlo Tremonti cocked his head, obviously confused. Augie Tremonti asked if he could look at the badges. The agents politely complied. He bit his lip, looked at his brother, and shrugged. Who'd ever seen an immigration agent's badge? If they really were from the INS, they probably weren't there to kill him. Carlo Tremonti slowly set his steak knife down. The lead agent first asked him if he was Senor Carlos Tremonti from Santa Rosa, Colombia. Tremonti stared at him. Another agent said, La Ballena, Spanish for the whale. Members of the Tremonti clan glared at him. No one called Carlo Tremonti by that nickname, not to his face. "I'd like to have my lawyer present," Carlo Tremonti said. "That won't be necessary," said the head agent. "We just have a few questions for you, a minor matter." "A minor matter can wait," Carlo Tremonti said, "until Monday." "I'm afraid not." The agent asked Tremonti to go get his passport and come with them. "It's at my office." One of the other agents produced a pair of handcuffs. "There's no need for that," Carlo Tremonti said. The agents handcuffed him anyway. "Procedure," they insisted. They cuffed his ankles, too. In Italian, Carlo Tremonti asked his wife to go get him some cash. The agent in charge smirked. "No need for that." "My toothbrush, then," Carlo said to his wife, still in Italian. "No," the agent said. The agents seemed to enjoy marching Carlo Tremonti from the table, past the terrified faces of his grandchildren. Carlo looked back over his shoulder at his wife and told her to please eat without him. "We'll be back in time for dessert," Augie said, scrambling to his feet and following. The Pelican Motor Lodge was a clean, white cement rectangle of rooms surrounding a landscaped